A man named John Jones entered a cave near Utah Lake with the intent of exploration. During his search, he decided to venture into the tightest section of the cave to set a new record. Little did he know, this decision would be the last one of his life. He was crawling through the narrow passages of the cave, known as Nutty Putty, but accidentally took a wrong turn and ended up in a part of the cave where no one had ever gone before. This section was so tight, it was difficult to even move, let alone breathe. Unfortunately, in these tight conditions, John got stuck upside down. This is the tragic story of 26-year-old John Jones, whose last 27 hours of life were spent trapped inside this cave. Welcome back to Unseen Mysteries. Near Salt Lake City, Utah, there are small rocky formations that house the Nutty Putty Cave, a hydrothermal cave discovered by Dale Green in 1960. Since then, thousands of young adventurers have tested their skills inside the cave. Nutty Putty is notorious for its narrow, slippery, and winding passages, and there's only one way in, a mere 30-inch wide opening, meaning only those with a chest and waist smaller than 30 inches can enter. Every year, around 20,000 people visited the cave to test their limits. But between 1999 and 2004, several accidents occurred, raising concerns about the cave's safety. One incident involved a 23-year-old man who got stuck in the cave for 8 hours, while in another, someone spent an entire night trapped upside down. These incidents led authorities to close the cave in 2006. However, professional cavers argued that it should only be closed to inexperienced people, as they were the ones who usually got stuck. On the other hand, officials described Nutty Putty as a ticking time bomb that could take a life at any moment. The battle between the professionals and the officials continued until 2007, when the cave was reopened with new rules. A management committee was formed, granting access only to experienced cavers with proper equipment. To enter Nutty Putty, people had to apply for a permit 21 days in advance. John and his brother, Josh Jones, applied for this permit too. On the night of November 24, 2009, 26-year-old John Jones entered the Nutty Putty Cave system with his group. Both brothers had some prior experience caving, but this was their first time in Nutty Putty. For the first hour inside, everything was normal, and they explored the largest cavity, known as the Big Slide. But this was where things took a dangerous turn. John, Josh, and two other friends decided to go deeper into the cave, heading for the most difficult section called the birth canal. The birth canal is incredibly tight, and very few people have ever made it through. The passage is not only narrow, but also difficult to find. Many people had gotten stuck there before. John, being the fittest of the group, took the lead, crawling on his stomach. Believing he was entering the birth canal, John unknowingly took a wrong turn into a passage called the corkscrew. This was a place only the slimmest cavers could squeeze through. According to the cave's map, John should have turned right toward the birth canal, but instead, he went left. As he moved forward, the path became narrower, and soon he couldn't turn back. He pressed on, hoping the passage would widen ahead, but it only got tighter. At one point, John saw a downward slope, thinking it might be a way to turn around, but this was where things got worse. As he slid into the 10 by 18-inch passage, he hit a dead end, becoming trapped upside down in a space barely the size of a washing machine. His head was below his feet, and he was so tightly wedged, he couldn't even move his arms. John called out to his brother Josh, who, upon arriving, could only see John's legs. Initially, Josh made light of the situation, but when he realized how serious it was, he panicked. He tried pulling John's legs, but this only made things worse, pushing John further down. Now completely stuck, John couldn't move at all. The brothers realized they needed professional help. However, there was no cell signal in the cave, so Josh had to exit the cave to call 911. 3 hours later, the first rescue team arrived. Susie Motola, a rescuer, tried for 2 hours to free John, even cutting his jeans to gain a few extra centimeters of space. But John was stuck worse than anyone anticipated. Outside the cave, John's wife, daughter, and over 30 rescuers gathered, brainstorming different ways to free him, including amputating his legs. They finally decided to use a rope and pulley system to pull John out. However, they faced the challenge of drilling anchors into the cave's rocks. knowing that if the rocks broke, they could block the passage entirely. While drilling, some rocks fell, hitting John. The rescue operation, 700 feet underground, was incredibly time-consuming and dangerous. Only one rescuer could enter at a time due to the narrow passage. Meanwhile, John's situation became more critical. A doctor on the rescue team warned that, since John was stuck upside down, his organs would begin to fail after 10 hours. The human body isn't designed to be upside down for long periods, as the heart must work overtime to pump blood upward against gravity. The doctor feared John could suffer a heart attack at any moment. Upon hearing this, rescuers increased their efforts to at least reposition John. After hours of drilling and preparation, they managed to pull John further out of the hole. They pulled him far enough that one rescuer could see John's face, which showed relief for the first time in 19 hours. Just one final pull was needed to free him completely. But suddenly, one of the pulleys failed, and John slipped back into the hole where he had been trapped for nearly 20 hours. In a last attempt to save John, rescuers drilled the surrounding rocks to widen the space. But by then, it was too late. John stopped responding. His wife tried to talk to him over the radio, hoping to revive him. But there was no response. Finally, a brave paramedic went down to check John's pulse, confirming everyone's worst fears. John Jones had passed away at 11:50 p.m. on November 25, 2009. His wife couldn't believe that her husband had died from such a small mistake, clinging to the hope that the pulse check had been wrong. But the reality was undeniable. Despite doctors predicting John would only survive for 10 hours, he lived an additional 17 hours due to his good health. Several plans were made to retrieve John's body, including cutting it into pieces. But in the end, it was decided to leave his body in the cave and declare it his final resting place. The Nutty Putty Cave was permanently sealed, with a plaque placed outside in John's memory. Today, John Jones's body remains in the same position inside Nutty Putty, serving as a grim reminder of the dangers of cave exploration. We hope you enjoyed this video from Unseen Mysteries. Please like and share and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the next fascinating video.